Hi everyone, StariAri here with your midweek pick a card. And this time we are going to be asking for messages from an Egyptian deity, specifically the masculine deities such as Set, Horus, Osiris, Anubis, and Thoth. So go ahead and pause this video, connect with your higher self and guides, and ask which pile has the message that you need to receive at this time from one of those gods. Okay, so if you chose pile number 1, you chose the god Thoth. So in Greek mythology, he is known as Hermes. In Roman mythology, he is known as Mercury. All right, so let's see. Let's give you a little bit more insight as to why you are probably connecting to this god today. So we have information here. So Thoth was the god of the moon, sacred texts, mathematics and sciences, magic, and he was also known as the messenger and record keeper for the deities. He is the master of all knowledge and the patron of scribes, okay, and historians, you know, whoever annotated or copied sacred texts and scrolls, things like that. I'm pretty sure you guys heard about the, emerald tablets of Thoth. So this is probably nothing new to you, but there seems to be a very past life connection to Thoth with you if you chose this. There seems to be this understanding and knowing who this deity is, intimately speaking, meaning that you've shared many, many lifetimes of worship to this deity, or became an anointed or initiate in the priesthood of this deity or priestesshood. Okay, trying to be politically correct here. So according to several mythologies, Thoth was born from the lips of Ra at the beginning of creation and was known as the god without a mother. In another story, Thoth is self-created at the beginning of time, and as an ibis, which is what he is right here, at least this bird, lays the cosmic egg that holds all of creation. He was always kind of closely associated with the god Ra, the concept of divine order and justice as well. Thoth was credited with creating art, writing, inventing calendars, controlling space and time. Since he was associated with the moon, he had celestial functions as well, and replaced the sun god Ra in the sky at night. So that's why he represented kind of like he would be like the opposite of Ra in that sense, not in a negative sense, more of like how the moon is the opposite of the sun in so many belief systems. Thoth also had, assistance, or he assisted other gods. So for example, he assisted Anubis with funerary rites. He was actually a bookkeeper as well for that. He was also responsible for recording the verdict of the heart weighing ceremony, which determined if the person was able to continue on to the afterlife or if they were going to be punished, according to Egyptian lore in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. If the person's heart or spirit balanced with Ma'at's feather of truth, they passed. But if it was heavier than that, then the person did not pass. So Thoth always provided guidance for the deities. Also, he regulated common everyday complaints and created new laws for the common people, okay, as well as the gods. So that being said, he was kind of like a jack of all trades type of deity. So he took over a lot of the things that were all about making sure that things were under universal law and control, discipline, justice, things like that. So he was the one creating all of these things just to make everything just, right, and equal for everyone. The gods to include humanity, okay? So let's go ahead and look at what the message is that he wants you to know for this week. So he says, assistance without interference, and this is coming from the energy of Sirius. So there is a link to Sirius with Egyptian gods, as well as to Orion, okay? Those two constellations are very much predominant or have an influence in a lot of the Egyptian texts, to include the Pleiades here and there, but I would say the most influential ones are Sirius, which is, Canis Major, and Orion, the hunter, okay? So that being said, what is assistance without interference, you might ask yourself? Well, this is kind of like you having the guidance that people need without attaching to the outcome, whether or not a person is going to listen to your guidance, listen to your wisdom, listen to your advice, and take it to heart, okay? So Thoth is a wisdom teacher here as well, okay? He's taught a lot of things. Like I stated before, he pretty much is a jack of all trades, and he pretty much made sure that everything was equalized across the board, or there was equilibrium in the realm, okay, between the celestials as well as us humans, okay? So that being said, if you connect to him or you're watching this video, it's because you've learned from him many years ago. You learned about his disciplines as well as other tricks of the trade, so to speak. He is pretty much what I call the cosmic justice system, okay? So he uses universal law and implements it. If you haven't read the Kabbalion, or you haven't read, I think it's the ancient, it's pretty much like the rules of engagement, so to speak, for us, okay? So this is kind of like him explaining what's going on with the universe, how we play a role in it, and how do we use cosmic energy to serve, a higher purpose, okay? So it's outlined in that book. There is a lot of information coming in from the wisdom that he's gathered throughout the ages. A lot of people have channeled this information into these texts, okay? So it's kind of like he teaches you the laws of cause and effect. He teaches you the laws of the universe in that sense, okay? So that being said, you've already learned this stuff many years ago. Therefore, you have this need to teach it or to actually live it yourself. But the only problem that you might be running into is that when you do teach it, when you do share this knowledge and wisdom or guidance for others out around you, you tend to attach to the outcome. You tend to attach to whether or not they're going to listen or apply the information properly. And that causes you grief, that causes you anger, that causes you resentment, as well as disappointment. And Thoth wants to let you know right now, it is important for you to continue this work, but you have to learn how to detach from outcome. And the best practice would be to ensure that you remember that the wisdom that you're giving is because it comes from wanting people to have a better life. It comes from the purity of your heart. It comes from compassion. It comes from love for someone else. And it comes from selflessness, And so when we start to think about wanting to control the outcome of someone else's life, someone else's choices, then that's when things become askewed for us. That's when we become disappointed, angered, resentment sets in for these people that we are assisting. So that's why he says detach from the outcome will assist you in navigating through these situations. If you feel that you no longer can assist someone, then it's okay. Don't feel guilty, okay? Don't feel guilty for not helping. Just say, at this time, I don't see that this situation is improving, therefore I am going to move on, and I hope you find another mentor or another person who can guide you to a better path. You know, that's what you need to do. If you need to confront someone about this, like if you really need to detach from the situation and just say, you know what, my hands, I'm cleaning my hands from this situation. I cannot continue to work with someone who is not willing to work through situations on their own, you know, who's not willing to make an effort, okay? There's nothing wrong with saying that to someone, because they need to learn. They need to learn to take responsibility for their actions, for their choices, okay? So that's how you'll learn to detach as well, all right? It doesn't mean that you don't care. It just means that it's no longer conducive to your own growth and to your mental health and to your emotional health either, okay? So you gotta ultimately choose you, all right? So that's what this means, all right? So moving on. So why is this happening, right? Why is it that you have so much going on, so much wisdom, so much advice within you? And how is it that all of a sudden you've enhanced tenfold with your abilities to download information from the cosmic realm? Your connections to your guides are even stronger. You know, all these questions you've probably asked yourself is like, kind of like, who am I? Why am I here? Why is this happening? Why am I so wise? You know, things like that. It's because you're a star keeper. So this is kind of like someone who's been there and done it, who's been all over the universe, who've witnessed the rise and collapses of planets, of civilizations, of, you know, all these things, right? So what he wants you to know is that you've been here before. You've done this work many, 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 many times. And that's why it is so easy for you to pick up where you left off, okay? And so remember who you are. When you remember who you are, then things get better, things get lighter, things don't feel so overwhelming, okay? And so Thoth wants to tell you, hey, that's why you're a star keeper, you're a record keeper like I am. You've been around when I was around. I've taught you what you've learned, you know, millions of years ago, I would say. Talking about ancient civilization stuff, like way before Earth even existed, okay? So with that being said, ground that information into your life so it can best, you know, assist you with whatever's happening at this time for you, okay? So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye-bye. All right, if you chose pile number 2, you chose the god Anubis. Yeah, the jackal. So Anubis was the ancient deity of cemeteries, embalming, as well as the protector of graves. So he did a lot of things with the dead. He was the one that was like the gatekeeper pretty much. So a lot of the things that were done for the ceremonies for the dead were done through Anubis, or through the assistance of the deity Anubis. So he conducted elaborate ceremonies and mummification processes to help the deceased pass smoothly into the afterlife. So that was what the belief was back in the day, okay? Anubis was the deity who played an important role in this journey. So there is a lot of I would say the color in particular of Anubis is black, right? So black actually symbolized good fortune and rebirth, okay? So he was the god of the dead. He symbolized rebirth here. So death symbolized ending, but it also symbolizes a new beginning, therefore rebirth. So jackals, because he's a jackal, were associated with death. And this was because they lurked around cemeteries and would eat decomposing flesh. So they were a little bit like scavengers. So that's why, you know, Anubis was pretty much associated with jackals, or had the head of a jackal and the body of a humanoid, okay? So anyway, he, of course, was the one that would assist in the weighing of the heart. So if you ever read the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which I highly recommend that you do, you will see kind of like their ceremonies in there, as well as this particular one about weighing the heart. Okay, so the human heart was balanced on the scale against Ma'at's feather of truth. If the heart weighed more than the feather, the person's identity would essentially cease to exist. So the Amit, that being that you might see in a lot of these pictorials, or in the Book of the Dead, you'll see him in these pictures. It's some kind of like weird looking reptile thing, would eat the heart and the soul would be destroyed completely. So, but if the heart weighed the same as the feather, the deceased would pass through to the underworld and into the afterlife. Okay, so that's what they believed in. So the reason why you are connecting to Anubis at this time is because of this energy transmission from Arcturus. So you are here to receive a lot of information from a past life, in particular the one that has or is centered around the worship, as well as the idealism, philosophies, and priesthood or priestesshood of Anubis. Okay, so you are considered one of the many portal keepers, that's what I like to call you guys, that are here to clean up or assist the dead to transition into the afterlife. You might have a career in this at this time, meaning like you're probably doing something in the medical field, or you probably pray for people's souls, or you probably have seen this. You probably have mediumship abilities. It could be a plethora of things that have to do with the dead, and working with that energy, working with the transitions of, you know, someone who is living into and preparing them for their afterlife, you know, helping somebody soothe them. Maybe in the way where you might be doing energy work for someone who is a cancer patient, or you're trying to help them with feeling comfortable with letting go of this life, you know, or maybe you're a grief counselor where you help the family understand what's to follow after the person transitions, or how to help them with their, you know, how to prepare for that, or, you know, funerary costs, finances, things like that. I don't know, but I feel like there is a great link to Anubis in this lifetime with you. As you are a portal keeper, like I said before, you probably even work with a deity that's similar to him, you know, from a different pagan religion, or you even work with Archangel Azrael, who is considered, you know, a angel of death, or whatnot, or the Grim Reaper, like a lot of people want to label him. But whatever it is, there is this need for you to connect to this lifetime, to bring in that wisdom back into the one that you're currently in. okay, to help you understand what you're looking at, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing. If you are experiencing activity in your home or somebody else's home, or at work, or just things like that, to understand what this is, okay? And to dig deeper into what energy is, period. You know, how we assist energy to be transmuted or transitioned into something else or to a different location, okay? So that's what this is all about. Anubis is trying to tell you, hey, you've done this before. I've taught you this. Now it's time for you to reactivate this in your life. It's time for you to start to assist people once more with this. It's time for you to possibly even assist people with transitioning from letting go of something that is no longer necessary in their lives, and allowing themselves to bring in a rebirth, so to speak. So kind of similar, like symbology to this type of work. You know, maybe there is a transition that you're going through at this time. Maybe you are moving locations or moving jobs, or having a difficult time with change at this time too. So whatever's going on in your life, I feel like you connecting to Anubis will definitely assist you with this time, because like I said, he is the god of death, but he's also the god of rebirth. And so he is able to assist you with whatever you're going through, the changes, letting go of the past and moving forward into a better life. Okay, so moving on. So we're finding out why, like, what's the whole purpose, right? What's going on? What's the whole deal with this energy? And we have embrace your weirdness. You're not for everyone, you know. Sometimes, you know, it is very difficult for us to accept who we are if we don't know that. We don't know what our identity is, or where we come from, or our background, or possibly our family lineage. Past life can help you with that, you know. When you connect to past lives, especially very important ones such as the one with Anubis, you're able to remember things, and it's able to, in so many ways, help you through the difficult times right now, so that you can refocus your energy on what's important, which is divine will, you know, what you're here to do, what's your life purpose, things like that. And so remembering that is very important for you to thrive in this lifetime, because this lifetime is very difficult. You know, we have a lot of things that are distractions. We have a lot of things that are very toxic that we might be possibly running into in our day-to-day life, such as the media, social media, you know, technologies, unhealthy foods, unhealthy people around us. And so sometimes we lose hope in improving our lives or having a better outcome to something, when we're constantly being bombarded by all this toxicity around us. So Anubis is telling you, you know, take a break from that and explore who you really are. Connect to someone who could possibly give you a reading for a past life to help you, encourage you to explore this even further, you know, and so that you can learn where your soul's been and what your soul's purpose is this lifetime. So this is what this is all about. And again, it's just very important for you to embrace this about you. Embrace yourself, love yourself, you know, because if you don't, then who else will, right? So remember, not everyone is for you, and you're not for everyone either, and that's okay. We're not here to please other people. We're here to do our mission and what our life purpose is, and focus on divine will, and focus on that, you know, and everything else, you know, comes in here and there. But ultimately, he wants you to refocus your energy. He wants you to remember who you are, remember the connection that you have to him, and you know, start by meditating with him, welcome him his energy into your circle, into your meditation, into your day-to-day life. Ask him questions. You know, you'll get insights here and there. It might not be a full-blown conversation, but you'll get little messages from him. You just have to be open to receive them. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye-bye. All right, you guys, if you chose pile number 3, you chose Set or Seth. So Set was the son of Geb, which was the earth, and Nut, which is the sky, who is brother of Osiris. And he was also the god of the desert, foreign lands, thunderstorms, eclipses, and earthquakes. Set is a very powerful god, but also very scary deity for a lot of people. But he was also considered the patron god of the pharaohs, especially Ramses the Great. He protected the dead on the way to the afterlife as well. So he had a lot of jobs here, but a lot of people like to focus on the negative. But we're just going to focus on the good shit, all right? Like, yes, he is a very natural force, a force to be reckoned with, but he is also a great ally, okay, to have. So in Egyptian mythology, Set killed Osiris in an attempt to be ruler of all Egypt. But, of course, Osiris' son Horus defeated Set in combat. Then Set was adopted by the sun god Ra. He became the thunder in the sky and the protector of Ra from the chaos serpent Apophis during the sun's nightly travel through the underworld. So remember that, okay? There is a lot of different versions of Set's role here, and so this is where we're going to focus on what he is in this version of mythology, okay? While Set was depicted in this way, he usually has a connection to dog-like animals or to canines, okay? So Set, again, he is here to give you a message, and just remember what I just said about the positive attributes of him, okay? And the negative too, because he is, again, a force to be reckoned with. So here we go. Here is the message Set has for you. So self-observance, and this is coming from Lyra. The reason why this is very important to understand is because sometimes we have a problem with criticism or judgments from others. You know, sometimes we think, oh man, you know, someone's always saying something to me. Someone always has something negative to say. Someone always has some type of judgment about me, about my actions, about what I say, what I do, how I dress, how I look, you know, what I believe in, you know, things like that. So we're always fixating on the victim mentality here. You know, we're always fixating on what others have to say or the haters, right? And so Set wants you to refocus that energy into understanding how this has a mirror effect, you know, where we have something within us that is reflecting this in our outer world. There could be a possibility that we have unhealed wounds here from the past, you know, from either a past life or from this current lifetime. There, you know, I always link it to childhood. Usually that is where we learn a lot of our traits, a lot of our beliefs about the world, about ourselves, whether or not we have high self-esteem or low self-esteem. You know, it has a lot to do with those around us and how they raised us. And that being said, Set wants you to really focus on that, on how, you know, how did that contribute to your mindset at this time, or the chaos that you might be finding within your you know, life. And that's why it says chaos here as well. It's kind of like, what's really happening internally? What is your internal dialogue? You know, who is telling you these things? Is there a voice in your head telling you, oh, you're not good enough? Oh, you're gonna, say that and it's gonna be rude or it's gonna be offensive to other people, or, oh, you should be this way or that way. Where's that voice come from? Is it a person that you've known, before? Is it your mom? Is it your dad? Is it your grandparents? Is it a family member? Is it a teacher? Who is it? Who is telling you what you're doing is wrong? Who is setting that example? Who is influencing you into believing that you're less than what you are? And that's something that is very important for us to understand about this, where when we have situations in our lives they seem chaotic, they seem out of control, they seem very high, there's like some high emotions involved. There is chaos in a relationship with someone. There is always drama, things like that. We have to observe where it comes from within us. What are we saying? Are we reacting to what others say? Or are we observing first and then coming to a wise decision after? Like, what's going on? This is what Set wants you focused on. Because when we start to refocus on how are we interacting with others that is causing this chaos, then we can take the proper steps for ourselves and for others involved to stop it, to solve and resolve our differences, to move forward in a peaceful mindset, without worry, without judgment, without hatred, right? So that's where that is coming from. And then when we think about how Lyra is connected to this, it might just be a link to your past lives. It might just be a link where this is where the actual karmic cycle began. Lyra was one of the very first, I would say, humanoid populated constellations out there. And they went through a lot of darkness. They went through a lot of grief, a lot of hate, a lot of war, a lot of just darkness, okay? And so maybe pinpointing that past life and going back that way and healing that can assist you with this lifetime. And then we also have the connection to Set. You can most likely, what I'm seeing here is that you were somehow linked to Set in a past life in Egypt. You're probably a priest or a priestess of Set, or even a pharaoh, or a queen or whatever that worshipped Set or used Set as an ally. Whatever this is, you have to explore this even further to figure out how to just deal with life at this time, What's the proper way to deal with difficult situations or difficult people? It's very important for you to do this, because when you do this, when you start to really deal with this, take responsibility for yourself and allow other people to do the same, then things get better. Okay? So moving on. So what's going on? So altogether, why is this message even coming up, right? Well, here it is. You need healing. There is a need for you to do deep cellular healing when it comes to the chaos that you see in your life, when it comes to situations of karmic cycles that finally need an ending or a acknowledgement here, okay? So Octarus energy can help you with this, because Octarus energy works at a cellular level, meaning that it goes into like subatomical structures and repairs that from the inside out, therefore repairing any diseases in the physical body, and the mental body and the emotional body, and helps you feel better, helps you feel much more at ease and at peace within yourself, within your life. And it helps you then, forge forward to the life that you truly desire to create here, and possibly, I feel like there is definitely a link to everything that you're going through, all the challenges, everything that's happened in your life. Having to go through these things has a lot to do with why you're here, what your life purpose is. And your life purpose is to lead by example, to help those who are in need of healing, as well as you are a healer too. So when a healer needs healing, this is what we have to turn to. Okay, we have to turn to self-observation in order for us to heal ourselves, in order for us to finally end these karmic cycles, these difficult situations, mend relationships, and move forward with our lives, move forward with our divine purpose here, okay? And so that's what this is all about for you guys who chose this pile. And I feel like you're definitely making strides towards that. And this is just a friendly reminder for those who are making these strides that you're on the right path, that you are definitely healing these things about yourself. And I would also recommend to really connect with Set about this too, to remember who you are. Remember those past lifetimes, that power, that discipline, that fortitude that you had back then, and bring it back into this lifetime to assist you with truly changing things for the better. All right, so that's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye-bye. All right, you guys, if you chose pile number 4, you chose the god Osiris. All right, so let's do a little background on Osiris. I know there's a lot of information out there, but I'm just gonna base this off of what I know, my own knowledge. Osiris is a god of the deceased, and he was also the son of the oldest child, I would say, so the first of Geb, the earth deity, and Nut, the sky goddess. His wife and sister was Isis, goddess of motherhood, magic, death, healing, fertility, and rebirth. It was said that Osiris and Isis were deeply in love with one another, even in the womb. In the New Kingdom, Osiris was considered the master of the underworld, the next world, the afterlife. So he then changed his role into the king of the underworld, okay? And also in a lot of different mythologies, he became master of the afterlife. He also taught agriculture, gave laws and civilization to humans. So that's kind of like where he thrived there. It's like the lawmaker. So he was considered like king as well, like a ruler in his own right. When Set killed Osiris, he then became, what is it called? The dead, the king of the dead, or the ruler of the underworld. That's how that happened there, if you guys were wondering. But anyway, so the reason why you guys are connecting to him at this time, or why you chose this this pile to receive a message, is because there is something deeper that needs to be revealed at this time for you. And this is the pulse of life, okay? The galactic core energy. So the galactic core shifts continuously, I would say. And around, I would say, November, December timeframe, it shifts into Sagittarius, the sign of Sagittarius. And so I would say it's at the most powerful around the winter time, or when we're transitioning from fall into winter solstice. So it's kind of like in between Sagittarius and Capricorn around that time, where it's truly powerful. The reason why this is important for you to know is to, when that time does happen, for you to really connect in that way to the galactic core or to the center of the galaxy. Okay? What I'm seeing here is that it's a need for you, there is a great need for you to understand your role within the cosmic play here, to understand why you're here, to understand what your divine life purpose is. And you can do this through the connection to Osiris, through a past life. I feel like there is definitely a connection to a priesthood or a priestesshood here, possibly even with Isis, but for sure it's Osiris that you've connected to many, many lifetimes ago. I also feel like there is a lot of wisdom about this connection, and also, the constellation of Orion is definitely linked to Osiris and a lot of belief systems, where they say that Orion is the home of Osiris, while the Ursa Major is the home of Isis. So each deity represented a constellation in the sky. If you really connect to the constellation of Orion, then definitely feel like there is a deeper connection there with a past life that you might want to seek out, okay? So with the pulse of life, it's understanding how everything works in the universe, how things are created, and how things are transmuted into a different form of creation. So just like how he represents, life at the beginning of his existence, and then he represented death after he transitioned from life to death. And this is what you need to understand, is the changing of the seasons, the changing of the lunar phases, solar rotation, the rotation of the celestial bodies to include the galactic core or the galactic center. Understanding this information and understanding how all of it affects you personally can assist you with navigating through the energies, through your emotions, through your thought forms, through the way that you perceive the universe itself or the world that you live in at this time. When you learn all of this stuff, things don't seem so overwhelming anymore. Things seem perfect, or as they should be. And so that's what Osiris wants you to remember, is all of the knowledge that you've had many, many lifetimes ago with all of these disciplines like astrology, witchcraft, being a priest or a priestess, magic, such things are very important for you to tap into again, okay? Because they're very relevant to how you're feeling at this time, okay? So moving on. Jump right in to all of the information that you need to gather at this time. If you don't know where to begin, start with something that is fascinating to you at this time. Maybe you're interested in astrology. I highly recommend that you check out, IITS's website, and I'm putting the website right now so that you guys know where to go, because we have free videos of lesson plans that we are teaching on astrology, or possibly you want to learn about energy healing, and I'm teaching that too for free on that website. So if you want to, I highly recommend that you register and you start checking that out. So just dive right in, don't worry about how to apply the knowledge at this time. Just gather the information, gather the knowledge first, and then see how it fits into your life. All right? Because it's important for you to start somewhere, and wherever you feel drawn to start, such as maybe exploring more about Osiris, or possibly ancient Egypt, or even, the galactic core, the galactic center, or even galactics, period, aliens, wherever you start, is perfectly in alignment with what you need to know at this time. So Osiris is telling you, just go for it. Just go for it. Learn something, gather information, and then worry about how you're going to apply it later. Okay, as long as you're just being the student right now. Okay, because eventually the student becomes the teacher. They become the master of this stuff. And so that's what this is all leading to, is why you are here, what your life purpose is. Well, you're here to teach all of the stuff that you're learning, and it's very important for you to remember this. Okay, so yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye-bye. Alright, if you chose this pile, you chose Horus as your god and the messages that are coming from him. So, in ancient Egypt, Horus was one of the most important deities that they had. He was usually depicted as having, a head of a falcon and a humanoid body. And some of the myths, he was known as, the god of war and the sky, and supposedly was married to the goddess Hathor. But then, of course, things change, religions progress, and the myth changes completely. And then he was known as being, the son of Isis and Osiris. When Horus became older, according to, mythology, he was the one that claimed the throne after he battled his uncle Set. Horus eventually won and became king, but during the battle, Set damaged Horus's eye, and dividing it into 6 pieces, Thoth restored the eye, thus creating the Eye of Horus. Okay, the 6 pieces represent a series of fractions and the 6 senses, which include thought as a sense. So thinking, okay? So with this being said, Horus, because he represents pretty much the king of Egypt, or the king of the gods, he also in so many ways is connected to the god Ra, or the embodiment of Ra in this sense as a deity. And then, of course, that connection to the pharaohs, because the pharaoh represents, the embodiment, a physical embodiment of Horus. So there's a lot of that stuff going on in Egypt. But ultimately, the reason why you chose this pile is because you need to learn more about your connection to Horus. Like, what's going on here, like, how are you connected to Horus? And ultimately, it's something to do with a past life between you and Horus, possibly you being a worshiper of the deity, or even a priest or priestess of the deity. So ultimately, there is a lot of wisdom that you've gained during these lifetimes that need to be remembered this lifetime to assist you with navigating it better. Okay, so here we go. Way showing. This is the reason why. This is the ultimate goal here. Okay, so as Horus was seen as the god of, or the king of the gods, or the king of Egypt, he was also a very someone that somebody wouldn't to for advice, right? So he was like a way shower, someone who was a leader in their own right, and so that being said, this is what you are being asked to do as well. And so there's going to be situations in your life where you might be placed in a leadership role, and you're probably not ready for it, or you probably are ready for it, and you've just been wanting and waiting, biding your time until that finally happened, right? And so that being said, you have to remember how to balance power, discipline, and compassion. Okay, this is something very important to remember, because Horus says that sometimes, power can get into somebody's head, and then the ego can take over. And that is a big no-no. We need leaders who are both powerful and compassionate at the same time. And that's something that needs to be balanced. That's something that takes time and discipline. And it takes knowing yourself better, your leadership style, your belief system, the belief system of those that you are leading, understanding what their needs are, understanding how to work with others, how to cooperate with other people is important as well. So you might find yourself in positions of power and authority, but it's important to not take advantage of your authority, of your power over others. Okay? So moving on. Trust the timing. So to me, this means like, yeah, you probably waited for a very long time to get this promotion, to get this position of authority and power. And you probably think, oh man, I should have done this years ago, or I should have been promoted a long time ago, but now I am, Trust that the timing was perfect, okay? Trust that you are where you're supposed to be. Or possibly you might be looking at a business venture where, things weren't good in the beginning of your business, like they weren't going or proceeding the way that you wanted, and now you're gaining traction, you're getting more recognition for your hard work, you're getting more clients, you're succeeding in life. And you're probably wondering, well, shit, I didn't do anything different. or you're probably wondering, what did you do different in order for this, to happen, Or you might be going through a situation in your business venture that is not feeling like you are on the right track. And I'm just letting you know that you are. All you need to do is really, I would say, look deeper into this situation, into your feelings, into what you're telling yourself here, and refocus the energy into what you really want to build out of your business. Okay? And not compare your business to somebody else's business, your success to somebody else's success. Okay? Because like I said, everything is as it should be. And so trust the process. Trust that you are where you are supposed to be. Trust the timing of this success. Okay? So Horus wants you to understand this. He wants you to explore these past lives with him. He wants you to remember who you used to be in order for that wisdom to be used in this current lifetime. All right? And stop beating yourself up because you're not where you think you should be. Okay? And you're probably doing this because you set these goals that might have taken a wrong turn due to the circumstances of your life at this time. Possibly because of the pandemic, possibly because of other people in your life, that might have bailed out on you or might have done something to, I would say, stall the progression of your success. So that being said, we got to refocus here. We got to make a plan of action and how to get out of this rut and how to remember who we really are and how to apply that wisdom of being a leader into this lifetime. Okay? So that's all I want to say, and that's all Horus wants to say as well. Okay? And so remember, you are a leader. You are a way shower. Start acting like one. I'm just kidding. I'm just giving you guys a hard time. I know you guys are acting like one already. I know you guys are taking care of business. You guys are very hard workers, and it definitely is showing. And definitely showing, and people are very, very much taking notice of you. Okay? So continue to do what you're doing. Continue to work hard. Continue to refocus on the positive side of things, because again, this is definitely how it's supposed to be. All right? So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye-bye.